Hi everyone, this is Salary Woman in Japan on the journey to show you what real life and work here looks like. This could have been another vlog of me eating sushi, taking trains, and complaining about work. But then I realized, hey, I went to France, Malaysia, and Brunei this summer, all for work by the way, and it made me feel quite intensely about some things in Japan. The first thing that comes to my mind when I'm at the airport, leaving or re entering Japan is finally, yes, leaving too. Traveling made me conscious once again of what exactly makes Japan so worth staying at and such a fun place to live, and what things are rather better abroad. I'm gonna evaluate Japan versus Paris in a few categories. And yeah, I know what you are thinking. I've only been to Paris and only spent a week there, so correct me later in the comments, but here are my impressions so far. This might sound weird, but the first thing I long for when away is Japanese toilets. Perfectly clean, welcoming, with bidet that is actually easy to use, toilet paper always in stock, and floors where I don't dodge puddles of water. Yeah, this was a huge reverse cultural shock. None of the three countries I have visited in the last couple of months had a decent toilet situation in public spaces. As funny as it might sound, this is a big reason I would rather keep slaving in Japan for a while. To be honest, Paris toilets made a lasting impression on me as something I don't want to deal with ever again. Like, come on, some of them didn't even have a seat, totally made by someone who really hates women. And some of those are not even free. Here you won't find a pay toilet, it's more like a public basic necessity, furnished at every station everywhere you go. So in terms of toilets, Japan 1, France 0. Let's make a 180-degree turn and talk about food instead. If you're a tourist in Japan, you'll probably feel like everything here tastes amazing. But the truth is, it gets repetitive and boring after a while. Please don't hate me for this. Especially because I live in a small prefecture without much international cooking going on. Most Japanese food is either deep fried or raw, like sashimi, which I love but really want some variety. Malaysia and Brunei had some of my favorites like kway teow, rice dumplings, and spicy dishes, while France, oh, all the bread, cheeses, sausage, crepes, seafood, I really love it. And if you follow my videos, you know how disappointed I am in Japanese bread, which is mostly white, fluffy, and mega sweet. So for a souvenir, I even brought some black breads with me. On the other hand, I sometimes felt the food was dirty in Paris, and my suspicion turned true as I got really bad food poisoning from seafood there, which never happened to me in 4 years in Japan. So yeah, cleanliness is definitely something I miss when I'm abroad. But food is not just the taste. The way you eat food is so important as well. Summer days in France are so long, 9 p.m. feels like 6, completely bright and cool, prompting people to have late dinners leisurely sitting outside of the pubs and sipping wine. Japan, in contrast, has a culture of quick dining, especially after work. Often at stations you will see tachigui, stalls standing eating, quick meals of soba or udon noodles meant to fill you fast and cheaply. I personally love the slow eating and socializing culture in France, so here France wins for me. On the other hand, dining out in Japan is so much more affordable compared to France. One plate in Paris would already come close to 20 euros, about double of what I would pay in Japan for similar stuff. So summing it up, both countries have their good and bad, and I will give 0.5 points to each. The relaxing atmosphere that I so enjoyed at French dining is also reflected in how friendly people are. Before coming to Paris, I heard all kinds of bad stuff about locals here, that they don't like foreigners, they're rude and not helpful, but to my surprise I got a completely different impression. Maybe because I didn't stay in a touristy area. But generally everyone was very friendly, helping and open to chit-chat, and it felt like a mental massage therapy after Japan. Not that people are unfriendly in Japan, but the strong no meiwaku culture leads to everyone just minding their own business and not disturbing anyone around, which I actually enjoy, but sometimes it gets really tiring to follow the rules. So for how easy it is to interact with locals, I will give 1 point to France. Now let's talk about work culture. I can't really say which one is better since I've never worked in France, but here's what I've noticed. Business etiquette in France felt a bit more relaxed than what I'm used to in Japan, from how restaurants serve you to how business partners handle their responsibilities. One moment that really surprised me was when one of our consultants said she hadn't prepared for a meeting because she had just come back from a few days off. This kind of thing would never fly in Japan, where work and especially clients always come first. Maybe I've developed a bit of a Stockholm syndrome, but honestly I feel like the Japanese work environment might actually suit me better. Yes, it's intense, there is a lot of overtime, and communication can be complex. But at the same time, there is something I respect deeply about how seriously people take their work. I know French work culture probably offers a healthier work-life balance, but for me there's something satisfying about being in an environment where everyone is expected to give their best, which of course a lot of French people do as well, I know. But I'm still very jealous of how much time off you all get, so 0.5 points to both Japan and France. One thing I couldn't help but notice again during my short trip is just how safe I feel in Japan. This place has truly spoiled me. I've become so trusting of people around me that I will leave my bag wide open in a cafe or even lying in the seat at the station while I run off to grab a drink from a Jido Hanbaiki. And when I come back, it's still there, every time. I know there's stories out there about harassment on trains, and I don't want to dismiss that because I'm sure it happens. But speaking from my personal experience, I've never had anything like this happen to me. I generally feel incredibly safe whether I'm walking alone at night or packed into a crowded train during rush hour. The contrast hit even harder when I landed in Paris. I had to dig out my Eastern European vigilance really quick. Part of it was triggered by something that happened last year. One of my Japanese colleagues got robbed when he in awe rushed to snap a picture of the Eiffel Tower. Long story short, his keys and wallet got stolen, but when he came back to Japan, he was able to get into his house through the back window because he always keeps it open. Some French locals even warned me not to walk around alone at night, saying public safety has gotten worse recently. And it really made me think how much mental energy I don't spend in Japan on safety. Not having to constantly scan your surroundings takes a whole layer of stress out of daily life. So yeah, one big point to Japan. Another thing that really stood out to me is how insanely convenient life in Japan is. Konbini can cover 90% of daily necessities, a late night meal, paying your bills, printing a document, sending a parcel, grabbing clean socks. This all can be done by stopping at the nearest konbini, which is open 24/7. In France, I was reminded again that convenience isn't always the priority. The only supermarket around closed at 8 p.m., and I had to rush in to make sure I had some water for the rest of the day. Many places shut down on Sundays, and no vending machine on streets left me really unprepared. But honestly, I think both places reflect their own values. Japan is all about efficiency and making sure things work seamlessly. In France, on the other hand, they seem to prioritize quality of life and slowing down. And after a few days there, I actually started to appreciate it too. But in terms of convenience, 1 point to Japan. I know there's so much more to these two countries than what I just mentioned, like education, healthcare, political climate, salaries, but these are the things I found the most striking in my short trip. Thank you so much for watching this video, subscribe to my channel and share in the comments what kind of cultural shock you experienced in Japan or abroad, and I will see you in another video soon.